you have that kind of music, go ahead and set it on. And we'll just start with a gentle warm up. So come down onto your mat. And we'll be getting into tabletop first. So come into all fours on the hands and knees, wrists right under shoulders, knees right under hips. If you have sensitive wrists, if you're coming into punch fist or dropping it down to the forearms, then go ahead and spread the fingers wide if you're on the hands so that you can press down into the whole entire hand and then put a soft little bend into the elbows. From there, as you inhale, drop the belly, lift the head, lift the chest, come into cow. As you exhale, push into the hands, round the spine, pick up the belly and drop the crown of the head, cat. One more time, drop the belly, lift the head, lift the chest, big breath in. Exhale, initiate movement by pushing into the hands, rounding the spine and tucking the tail. Go back and forth between cat and cow, just starting to bring a little bit of movement into the spine and starting to notice the muscles of your abdominal core. Then if it feels good to you, take it off of just that frontal plane of movement. So maybe you start wagging the hips from side to side, moving in a way that's very exploratory. Maybe you start making big circles with the shoulders, going past the wrists. Maybe you're circling the hips back toward a child's pose. You might be getting the neck involved by hanging the head, nodding yes or shaking no. Just bringing a little bit of movement into all of your joints. Good. From there, pause, tuck the toes, lift the hips, and come all the way up to your downward facing dog. We're making an upside down V. Go ahead and walk your dog, pedal out the feet back and forth, side to side, bend into opposite wrists, opposite knees, sorry. And then really start pushing into the ground with both hands. Activate the shoulders so the biceps come hugging up by the ears. You have just a couple more breaths here to find some movement. And then when you're ready, go ahead and send the heels backward. This is going to be our first hold, coming into downward dog. So from here, really press into your whole entire hand. You're trying to lift the tailbone up, but not dump into the lower back. So there's a slight pull in from the belly. You're looking for a long spine here. And then gazing at that spot that's maybe right in front of your face on the floor. So you're looking for a long back of the neck. Good. From there, try and roll the shoulders closed. So you're trying to turn the armpits down towards the ground. Elbows are soft. Good. Then one more time, check in with your body. See if you can pull the belly in just a little bit tighter. See if you can push just a little bit harder into the arms. Start finding a nice slow rhythm to your breathing. So it's a big, slow inhale in through the nose. Long, slow exhale out through the mouth. Yes, big inhale through the nose. Long, slow exhale through the mouth. And then one more time, clean it up. Press into the hands. And see if you can come out of the shoulder just a little bit more. Make it a little bit more narrow. Good. Elbows still soft. And then see if you can pull the belly in even tighter. Good. If the back of the legs feel really tight here, keep a soft little bend into the knees. They don't have to be super straight. And heels can be touching or lifted off the ground. Beautiful. You're well over halfway there. So one more time, come back to that breath. As we stay here in these holds, it's all about time under tension. So if you need to take a little break, go ahead and do it, and then come right back as soon as you're able. So one more time, clean it up again. Big push into the hands. Maybe you're rising just a little bit further up out of the shoulder. Big pull in from the belly. You have just about 20 seconds here, no big deal. One more time, come back to your breath. Maybe even focus on what brought you here this morning, what your goal is. In yoga, we call it setting an intention. So maybe you'd like to just set one quickly now. You have 10 seconds here. Then 4, 3, 2, and done. Come on down. Maybe land it to the knees, just shake out the wrists, roll the shoulders, wiggle the arms, get some movement into those shoulder joints. Grab a sip of water and just reset. We'll do about 30 seconds break in between poses so that you guys can just really be ready for the next one. Good. Then when we're ready, you're making your way down onto your back. So grab behind the thighs, gently roll yourself all the way down. And we're coming into crunch. So hands go behind the head, lightly resting, elbows nice and wide. Feet are right in front of the hips, and then you're pressing down into all 4 corners of the feet. Pull the belly in first, so you're really trying to press your low back down into your mat. And then leading with the chest, go ahead and come on up. We're coming into crunch. Elbows stay wide, there's no pulling at the back of the neck, and then pulling the belly in and down the whole time. You might stay right here, or if you'd like a little bit more, you might find a tabletop with the legs so that shins are parallel to the ceiling and knees are right over the hips. Good. So we're keeping the back of the neck nice and long by keeping some space in between the chin and the chest. Then recommitting to drawing the navel down and in. If at any point the low back pops up off of the mat, your goal is to pull it back down and find a little bit of pressure there with the low back to the ground. Think about really taking your bottom ribs in the front of your body down toward your 2 front hips. Everything in between those 2 points are compacting and pulling in. Those are your abdominals. Good. Re-widen through the elbows. And then imagine a string starting right in the middle of your breastbone that's tugging you up towards the ceiling. So this movement, this peel away from the ground is not coming from the head, it's coming from the chest. Good. Find your breath here. Slow, deep inhale through the nose. Long, slow exhale through the mouth. And then one more time, recommit to pulling the navel down and in, finding that pressure there to the low back, to your mat. Good. If the legs in tabletop are a little bit too much, go ahead and just set them back down. If you need that break, take it. Maybe even arch the back and then come right back into your crunch. So one more time, belly's pulling in, re-tighten there. Recommit to pulling up through the chest. You have just 10 seconds here. One more breath. It's 3, 2, 1, and come on down. From here, peel your belly button up towards the ceiling and arch the back. Create some space in between the low back and the floor. Just release. Good. Then go ahead and grab behind the thighs, rock and roll yourself on up, and reset. Then for our next pose, we'll be coming into plank. So if you do have sensitive wrist for plank, it's going to be punch fist or holding a forearm plank instead. So go ahead and take wrists under shoulders. And then it might just be a half plank on the knees. If that's the case, send the knees and walk them backwards until you're really opening up that front hip, creating a nice flat line from the top of your head down through the knees. Otherwise, you're tucking the toes and lifting the knees and coming on up into full plank. Let's go there now. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Press down into your whole entire hand. Then soften the elbows and activate the shoulders. So think about moving forward so that the shoulders are really over the wrists. And then without shifting your body position, think about dragging the shoulders down away from the ears. You're just looking to pack the shoulder joint just a little bit more tightly. Good. Find a tuck of the tail. So think about the bottom edge of your seat and tucking it down and rolling it in. Think about lifting your 2 front hips up and in toward your belly button. Then come back to your breath. Slow, deep inhale in, long, slow exhale out. See if you can push against the ground and lift the chest a little bit higher. You're looking to puff up that space in between the shoulder blades towards the ceiling so the chest isn't falling through the arms. Gazing at that spot right in between the thumbs. And then lifting the back of the head up so it's in line with the spine. Good, one more time, make sure the elbows are soft. We want to be using the muscles and not just hanging out in the joints. Make sure you're pressing down into the finger pads of your hands so you're not just dumping into the wrists. Hands should have a really active relationship to the ground underneath you. Good. One more time, notice your breathing. See if you can slow it down and stretch it out. You're already over halfway done here. So one more time, think about dragging the elbows back behind you. Think about puffing up the chest towards the ceiling. One more time, bigger tuck of the tail. Bigger pull in from the belly. Just recommit to all of that work. Good. Then see if you can start dragging the hands backward. Really turn on the muscles underneath your armpits, your lat muscles on your back. At the same time, think about dragging the knees or the feet forward, finding more of an isometric connection between the arms and the legs. Yes, one more time, lift the back of your head up. As we get tired, we start sagging and hanging the head. Think about really puffing up the back of your body. Yes, you have about 20 seconds here in plank. So one more time, come back to your breathing. Really focus on the depth and the quality of the breath. And you have just a couple more breaths here, that's all. Less than 10. It's 4, 3, 2, and done. Go ahead and sit back and shake out the wrists. Grab that sip of water if you need it. Now is your time where you just reset, bring a little bit of movement. I like to wiggle the arms and just bring some movement to the shoulder joints, maybe roll the neck from side to side, and just get rid of any tension that we've been holding there as we are holding our isometrics. Then when we're ready to move on, you're coming down onto the belly. And we're getting into a half Superman today. You might go for a full Superman if that's for you, but we are doing another lower body lift on the belly. So fair warning, maybe just stick with half. Press the tops of the feet down into the ground, and then several different options for the arms. If it's okay with your shoulders, you might take the arms fully out in front of you, coming into a full Superman with the palms facing inward. If that's not for your shoulder, you're taking it out wide to a big wide open W Superman, elbows in line with the shoulders. Then another variation might be clasping the hands behind the back and lifting up into half locust. So whatever it is for you for the arms, go ahead and move there now. Keep pressing into the tops of the feet. And then you're engaging the back of your body by finding a big squeeze in between your shoulder blades. Nice. Think about getting nice and broad through your collarbones. So really open up the chest, bring the sternum forward and drag the shoulders backward. Think about moving the shoulders down and in towards the back of your body, right there at the center. Good. If you have the hands clasped behind your back, try and lift them up off of your bum and stretch them back towards the heels. If the elbows are out wide, think about dragging them back to touch your pinky toes. Nice. If the arms are straight out ahead and you're Superman, think about squeezing the back of the shoulder and lifting your pinkies up just a little bit higher up off the ground. Then you're gazing at a spot right in front of you on the floor. Think about elongating the back of the neck by reaching the top of your head forward. So we're not just reaching up, we're getting nice and long. Then one more time, commit to that back body work. Big squeeze in between the shoulder blades. Think about drawing the shoulder blades down toward your bottom hips. Good. You're well over halfway there. You're like 75% done. Think about pulling the belly in. And then one more upper body lift. Recommit to really squeezing all of those muscles on your upper back. Seeing if you can take the torso up off of the mat, right down there to the bottom ribs. Good, 15 seconds here. One more time, big squeeze in between the shoulder blades. Slow down your breathing. It's 4, 3, 2, and done. Come on down. You might find a little wag of the hips from side to side or kick the heels up and find a windshield wiper here. Just releasing any tension that might have crept into the low back. And then go ahead and come on up and reset. So after back body work, most of the time I really like to get back into cat-cow and just do a couple of quick flexions, extensions here on my own. Nice, you guys. And then when we're ready to move on, we'll be getting into forearm plank. So come on down. You can make a number 11 on the ground, or maybe a prayer with the hands. Elbows right underneath the shoulders. And then again, if you're in half plank on the knees, just go ahead and walk the knees backward and press the hips forward. Otherwise, you're tucking the toes and coming on up to find your forearm plank. Let's go there now. Then make it better, press into your whole entire forearms. So you're not just dumping into the elbow, you have all of this surface area to help lift you up off the ground. Then see if you can drag the elbows together so that you're trying to isometrically activate the chest muscle. Almost like you're trying to ripple up the mat and pull the elbows together. Good. Then don't forget about the lower half. See if you can tuck the tail and really press the hips forward. Open up those two front hips. Zip up the belly here. So think about pulling your navel in toward your spine. And then again, you're gazing at that spot right in between the hands, or if the hands are together at prayer, you're probably gazing right at your thumbs. Think about the back body. Puff up that spot in between the shoulder blades. See how much you can push the arms into the ground and lift the chest up away. Nice, you guys, you're already halfway done here. Reach the top of your head forward. Elbows are still dragging together. See if you can drag the elbows backward as well. Again, isometrics is about time under tension. So we want to keep the work going to the muscles as long as possible. Holding that tension to the muscle fibers, but if you need to take a break, take it. Again, you're releasing that tension just for a moment and then coming right back to it. You're at 75%, so clean it up one more time. Big push through the whole forearm. Chest comes up off the ground just a little bit higher. Nice, press the hips forward just a tiny bit more and squeeze your butt. Then zip up your abs. Think about taking your two front hips and pulling them up and in towards the belly button. Then come back to your breath. It's 4, 3, 2, and down. Come on down onto the belly, and we'll get into a quick Sphinx stretch here. So number 11, with the hands, drag the elbows backward. And then think about pulling the chest forward through the arms. Good. You're lengthening and stretching out those abdominals that we just shortened and contracted. And then go ahead and make your way out. One more time, reset. Grab a sip of water if you need one. Bring some movement back to your joints. And then when you're ready to move on, we'll be getting into that lower body lift that I promised you. So one more time, back down onto the belly. We're coming into Pilates grasshopper. So stack one forearm on top of the other forearm, rest the forehead on top of both of those, and then take the knees out wide towards the edges of your mat. Glue the heels together. So you're making a diamond shape with the legs, and then you're squeezing the outer edges of your seat and seeing if you can lift the heels. Holding right here. Still finding a tuck of the tail. So right here, notice the pubic triangle from the pubic symphysis to the two front hips. You're looking for that triangle to be glued down toward your mat. And that only happens if you tuck the tail. So think about taking the tailbone, rolling it down and under. So this isn't coming from the low back, it's coming from those outer side edges of your seat. Big squeeze there. Forehead is pressing down into the arms the whole time, so there's no strain to the back of the neck. This really doesn't involve the upper body much at all. Belly's pulling in tight. And then whether the thighs come up off of the mat or not, you're really engaging the back outer edge of your seat. So one more time, find a squeeze there. See if you can drive the heels up towards the ceiling just 1 more millimeter. Good. Then come back to your breath. Slow, deep inhale through the nose. Long, slow exhale through the mouth. You're halfway done already. So normally when we're holding an isometric contraction, after a while, the muscle fibers get fatigued and we start sagging, we start losing it. We think we're squeezing just as hard, but let's trick the brain and just remind ourselves to find that outer edge squeeze. So press the heels together, find an isometric push there, and then see if you can lift the heels, squeeze them up towards the ceiling just a little bit higher. Re-engage. 75% done. Nice, you guys. If you need to come out, do it, but then come right back. Big, slow, deep inhale through the nose. Long, slow exhale through the nose. You might even take one big breath in through the nose and just blow it out of the mouth as you squeeze a little bit harder. 10 seconds here. Last opportunity to find that lift. Maybe get the thighs all the way up off the mat. You're here, 3, 2, 1, and come on out. Wag the hips from side to side and release. So go ahead and grab some water if you need it. Go ahead and just bring some movement back to the body, maybe by coming back to tabletop and just wagging the hips from side to side, getting into those side muscles. And then when we're ready to move on, we're getting into forearm side plank. So we'll go left arm down first, square to the top of your mat. And then you might be in half plank on the knees. You might be in full plank on the feet. Either way, doesn't matter. Come on up and find your forearm plank. So press down into that whole entire bottom forearm. Shoulder is right over the elbow, so the joints are stacked. And you're really looking to push up and out of that shoulder girdle. Then zip up your bottom side body. That's what's lifting the hips up high. That big squeeze from that bottom side abdominal. Good. Then take the twist out of this while you're here. Roll your top shoulder backward an inch. Roll your top hip forward an inch. That'll change how all of that core stuff is feeling. Sort of a different relationship, different angle to gravity. Good. Then one more time, recommit to that big push through the bottom arm. Reach the top of your head out and away so that the neck stays nice and long. And then come back to your breath. So settle into that long, slow, deep breathing pattern here. It's the breath that helps us get through these long iso holds. Short breath, short hold, long breath, long hold. Good, you're already well over halfway there, almost 75% already. So recommit here, big push into that bottom arm, not just the elbow, the whole entire forearm. Can you find a bigger squeeze to that bottom side? Nice. And just gently let your mind go back to that place where you set that intention earlier. Focus on what brought you here, whether it's changing your body, relieving stress, just getting some stuff out, getting moving, finding your strength. You're here just for 3, 2, and come on down. Nicely done, you guys. Go ahead and wiggle out that bottom arm, bring some movement into your shoulder socket. Grab that sip of water. And when you're ready, we'll move on to the other side. So what we do on one side, we have to do on the other to even out. We're getting into right side down, forearm side plank. So right forearm square to the top of your mat, maybe on the knees, maybe on the feet, wherever you are with it, come on up and find your forearm plank on the other side. Clean it up just the same. So let's build this side from the ground up. Big push into that bottom arm, all the way to the fist or the fingers. So depending on your shoulder mobility, you might have your whole palm pressing down into the ground, or it might just be the side of your fist. Either way, you're looking for engagement there through the whole forearm. Make sure the shoulder is right over the elbow so the joints are stacked. And then big push. You're trying to lift up and out of that shoulder as much as possible. Find a squeeze to your bottom side body. And then one more time, take the twist out of your side plank. Roll that top shoulder backward. Roll that top hip forward. Good. Nice long neck here. So definitely space in between the chin and the chest. Top of the head reaching out and away. Nice, you guys. Halfway done already. Recommit to cleaning it up on this side. So one more time, big push into that bottom forearm. Big squeeze into that bottom side body. Then come back to your breath. See if you can relax your face, unclench your jaw. Nice. You guys are 75% done. If you need that break, take it, but come right back. You're not here long. So one more time, big push into the ground. See how much you can lift yourself up and away. And then come back to your breathing. You have 15 seconds. Maybe like 3 deep breaths. Beautiful. I guarantee you can do this. You're here for just 4, 3, 2, and done. Come on down. I don't know about you guys, but for me, that second side always feels just a little bit shorter, even though it's the same amount of time. Go ahead and wiggle out that bottom arm. Maybe big shoulder circles here, just bringing some movement back into the socket. And then when you're ready, go ahead and make your way up to standing. So before we move on with another iso hold, we'll just get into a stretch for those sides that we just contracted. So take the arms up and overhead, then take your right hand and grab your left wrist. First, lengthen up through your spine. As you exhale, gently lean it over to the right. Press that left hip out and away, ground down into your left foot, and then maybe roll the chest open towards the ceiling and look up. Good. Inhale to come back to the center, switch your grip. First, lengthen up through the spine, and then lean it on over to your left. Ground down into your right foot, Maybe roll that top shoulder back, open up the chest and look up. Inhale to come back to center and let it go. Good. Then when you're ready, if you have space for a wall sit, you're going to come against the wall. If you don't have space the way that you're set up where you're working, you're coming into a free squat. So if you don't have wall, feet are slightly wider than hips, and you're coming on down and just holding your squat. Otherwise, you're coming back up against the wall, feet are hip distance apart, walk the feet forward as you slide down with the flat back. Either way, you're weighing down the heels and lifting the chest. If you are against the wall, you have the added feedback of knowing where your spine is in space. So see if you can pull your navel in and glue the low back to the wall. Press down into the heels so that you feel the whole back line of the leg working. Good. If you're in that free squat, think about sending your booty back behind you and lifting the chest. So you're staying upright as much as you possibly can. Knees are pressing out and open. If you're against the wall, knees are right over the ankles, hip distance apart. Good. Then everyone roll the shoulders down away from the ears. Lengthen the neck. Yes. Then come back to your breath. Long, slow inhale in through the nose. Long, slow exhale out through the mouth. We'll take one more just like that. Deep inhale through the nose. This time as you exhale, see if you can pull the belly in even tighter as the breath empties. Hold that and stick with that slow, deep breathing. Nice, you guys. Looking really good. Maybe challenge yourself to move 1 millimeter down towards the ground, just one. If that's not for you, just gently back up out of it. Again, it's not about how deep you go, it's about how long you can hold with some tension on the muscle fibers. We're challenging the muscles in a different way and just asking them to work a little bit differently than how we normally ask them to work in classes. Come back to that breath. The breath will hold you, the breath will steady you. Good. Make sure the heels are still super heavy. Make sure the back of the leg is still engaged. So intentionally focus down there right at the seat and give both of your butt cheeks a good squeeze. Then check the knees. Knees are still pressing out and open. Shoulders are still down away from the ears. So we're always having to come back to form and clean it up multiple times. The longer you hold something, the more your body just starts getting a little bit lazy. It lets the bigger muscles take over because it's easier. Now we're working all of those smaller muscles that tend to turn off, and we have to keep reminding ourselves to turn them back on. So one more time, turn on the belly, pull the navel in toward your spine. Pull the shoulders down and back. Yes, beautiful. You guys are looking so good. You're here for just 10 seconds, stick with it. One big breath in 3, 2, 1, come on out. Pedal out the legs, you've made it. Grab that sip of water if you need it. And then when you're ready, we'll be getting into more of the leg series. So we're coming into a square lunge first, right foot in front, left foot behind. Legs need to be wide enough apart to just start bending into that left knee and coming on down. So as you get into square lunge, make sure that that front knee doesn't pass your big toe. Make sure that it's tracking right over your second toe and not caving inward or outward. Good. Then put enough of a bend into your back knee so you can really give that left butt cheek a big squeeze. We're looking to tuck the tail. So think about the bottom edge of that left butt cheek. Think about rolling it down and under. Then find a tilt of the pelvis. So lift your 2 front hips up and in towards the belly button, really shortening that abdominal space. Shoulders are right over the hips. So we're super, super upright, no leaning forward. And then shoulders are rolled down and back. Think about getting nice and broad through the chest. Think about drawing the shoulder blades together a little bit on the back. Gaze is steady, and you're focused on a spot just a few feet in front of you on the floor. Then make it a little bit more active. So find an isometric connection between the feet. Right foot is dragging back towards your left foot is dragging forward toward your right foot. So if the mat wasn't there, you would be bringing the feet together just by the power of those inner thighs. Good, come back to your breathing. You are 75% done. At this point, you might think about bending that back knee just 1 millimeter closer to the ground, and then clean it up one more time. So scissor the legs together, feet to feet, activate those inner thighs. See if you can tuck the tail just a little bit more. See if you can pull the belly in just a little bit tighter. Good. Keep pressing down into that first knuckle of your big toe on that front foot. So you're not rolling off to the outer edge of the foot, but the whole foot is grounded. Then really press down into that right heel and drag it backwards. Beautiful. You're here for 3, 2, and done. Come on out, pedal out the legs. And then go ahead and switch sides. So from here, we're going square lunge to forward leaning lunge. So this one's a little bit different. You're going to straighten into your back leg this time. Gaze is focused maybe just a foot in front of your left foot. And you are leaning forward. So from here, start dragging that left heel backward. Find the back of your thigh. Heel is heavier than the toes. You can prove that by giving them a little wiggle up off the ground. And then check in on that front knee. Again, you never want the front knee passing your toes or caving inward or outward. Good. Find a lift of the chest by drawing the shoulder blades down toward your back hips. And then you make this more or less challenging by how much weight you're leaning forward. So if you want more of a challenge, lean forward just a couple millimeters and drag that left hip backward. So this one really challenges that left standing hip. You're working all of the tiny stabilizer muscles around the hip joint. Good. Shoulders pulled down and back. So a lot of the times when we're holding tension in the body, and here we are, we're intentionally building tension with an isometric contraction, we tend to tense up other areas that we're just not noticing. Soften there. So no tight shoulders, pull them down. Soften the face. Maybe relax that spot right in between the eyebrows. Maybe think about putting a little bit of space in between your top and bottom teeth. Then focus on your belly. Think about zipping up the belly right from that pubic symphysis all the way up through the bottom ribs, just like a zipper is pulling up and in. Nice, you have just 20 seconds here. Recommit to leaning forward just a little bit more. Recommit to dragging that left heel backward just a little bit more. Nice, right toes are light, right knee is straight. You're not here long, so come back to your breath. Just 4, 3, 2, and done. Come on out, pedal out the legs, maybe wag the hips from side to side and really get into those side muscles. And then when you're ready, we'll make our way to the other side. So left foot in front still, we're coming back to that square lunge that we did first on the other side. So go ahead and bend into your right knee, and come on down. And then settle in here. Notice all four corners of that left foot are pressing down into the ground. Heel is super heavy and front knee doesn't pass the toes. Then put enough of a bend into your back leg so that you can think about tucking the tail. So draw your attention to the bottom edge of your right butt cheek. Think about rolling it down and under. Think about tilting the pelvis by lifting your two front hips up and in towards the belly button. Good. Then scissor the legs together. So feet moving together. So now we're turning on those inner thigh muscles, the adductors. Notice that the shoulders are right over the hips. So you're staying upright. Notice that the shoulders are down away from the ears. If not, relax those shoulders and roll them back and down. Good. Come back to your breathing here. So just like all of those alignment cues, the breath is something that we tend to take for granted. We tend to automate it as much as possible. So focus on that breath, make it really mindful. See if you can slow it down just a little bit more. See if you can make it a little bit deeper, bring it down and pull it in just a little bit further towards the bottom of your belly. Nice, you are 75% there. So one more time, clean it up. Drag the feet together with a little bit more effort. See if you can roll that right feet down and under. Zip up the belly one more time. Good. Then make sure the shoulders are really relaxed. So maybe pull them up by the ears and then pull them down your back. Nice, you guys. 4, 3, 2, and done. Go ahead and release it. Pedal out the legs, shake it out. And then our very last one today, coming back, right leg in front, left leg behind, coming into that forward leaning on the other side to just finish it off. So back leg straightens. You're looking at a spot, maybe a foot in front of your right foot, keeping the back of the neck nice and long. So think about a nice flat line from the top of your head down through your back heel. Think about rolling that left hip forward and dragging your right hip backward. Good. Nice. Drag the right heel backward. Turn on the whole back of the right thigh. And then you're still lifting the chest here. Still rolling the shoulders down and back. Think about finding a little bit of activation to your back body by finding a squeeze in between your shoulder blades. So you're flaring out the chest just a little bit, nice and proud. Then one more time, strong core, pull the belly in tighter. One more time, find your breath. Good, you're halfway there already. So clean it up just a little bit more. See if you can drag that right heel backward. Drag that left foot forward, feet to feet. And then everything's pulling in towards the central midline of your body. So whether it's the legs scissoring together, the belly pulling in tighter, the shoulders pulling down in center, think about just taking everything and pulling it in, gathering it up. Good. Reach the top of your head out and away. Nice long neck. You are 75% done. You can do this. Stick with it. Long, slow, deep inhale in through the nose. Slow, long exhale out through the mouth. Good. Drag that right heel backward. Try and squeeze your left butt cheek. Back of the leg is super straight. Less than 10 seconds here, just 1 or 2 more breaths and it's all over. 4, 3, 2, and done. Come on out. Nicely done, you guys. So go ahead and grab that sip of water and we'll just do a short cool down stretch. When you're ready, Make your way back over to that wall. If you don't have a wall, just a chair, something that you can just hold on to for balance. And we'll take one heel back behind us, doesn't matter which one, we'll get to both, and come into a quad stretch. So grab the top of the foot, tuck the tail, and press the hips forward. Then go ahead and release it. Swing that leg around to the front, find a standing figure 4, bend into your standing leg, flex your lifted toes, and then press that lifted knee out and open. You might even take your inside hand to the inside thigh and gently press out. Then come on up and switch legs. Heel up to your bum, grab the back, and pull it in. From there, tuck the tail, press the hips forward. You should feel a big stretch along that top thigh line, right in the front of the thigh, all the way up to that front hip. Then release it, swing that leg around to the front, standing figure 4. Flex your lifted toes and press that lifted knee out and open. Then come on up. From there, we'll get into shoulders just a little bit. We'll take some big arm circles today. Both arms up, back, and behind. Nice and slow. Trying to get the biggest circle you can possibly get with the arms. 2 to the front, and then pause and reverse. Back, up, and over. Good. Open the arms out as wide as you possibly can. Make the front of your body super broad, make the back of your body super small. Then go ahead and give yourself a big hug, arm over arm. Think about pulling the back shoulder blades apart. Then one more time, open out, broaden the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together. This time cross the arms the opposite direction, so other arm comes on top. Big squeeze. Think about pushing the spot in between your shoulder blades backward. Then go ahead and release, shrug the shoulders up, back, and down. One more time, up, back, and down. Give yourself a little round of applause. Awesome job.